I'm Alice Whitaker, and I'm 88, I think.
87.
7.
That's good enough.
My name is Jean Sandiego, and I am 79, going on 80.
Hi, I'm Judy Pontiac, and I'm 78 years young.
What's your name and age?
Wrap up. Forgot my age. 92 or something? 93.
My name and age. My name is Geraldine G. Perry, and I am 93 years old.
Yes, I'll say the same thing my folks said to me. Do unto others as you want done unto you. And treat people equally and fairly. And just be nice to everybody.
Advice. How to live life to the fullest. Don't look back.
Get the only education you can.
I was thinking those words as John said.
If you're going to make a big move, I mean by leaving home, getting married, think it over, all possibilities, and make sure that the person you are going to spend your life with, at least plan on spending your life with, is what you want. You can find out different ways how that person is going to be true to you.
Get on the mistakes wheel and make as many mistakes as you want to or have to. And when you get smart, you'll stop doing it. So just continue until you learn your lesson. Stop making mistakes. Because I got a granddaughter, 20 years old right now, who's going through a bad mistake. And I just tell my daughter, don't pick on her, let her go through. You gotta make your mistakes. So that's just the way it is. Up part is it's a beautiful place and there's some really nice people here.
I always use when I walk by this place, or I was a young girl, I said, oh, I'd love to live there. I want to live there someday, have a room in that place, an apartment, and live out in the room that you could see the water. And perfect. When you know there's the river.
Excuse me, coming from the big city, yes, it's quite a change. People are all the same though, but they act different and talk a little different. When I first come here, my wife was with me. But soon after, she started getting sick. Her family background had suffered from Parkinson, and eventually it hit her. Not dealing with that, I didn't know anything about it. I mean, we decided to go shopping in the morning, and I get in my car ready to start it. And my wife would pop up. She says, "How come that woman is getting in the car and starting her car?" And I looked, there's no car even there. She wasn't there. But she never pulled anything like that on me, like she didn't recognize me or anything. But, and she was fading away from me and I didn't know it. I didn't realize it because I didn't understand Parkinson. You never do till after the fact, you know, at certain things. And I miss her very much.
Wonderful. In summary, one word, fix it. I'm so glad I'm here. We came to Maine on an invitation of my daughter-in-law's suggestion. I grew up in Massachusetts in a suburb of Boston. We lived there. I lived there all my life, except for the wartime time in Virginia. But coming here and having the support, because my husband died with a heart attack, and from something being wrong to the heart attack and his death was 1 week. And I had no experience of this in my own experience, of course, but in my family, the suddenness and so forth. I was just so lucky to be in the setting with people who had similar experiences. And I'd wake up saying, if they can do it, I can do it. So that was really a very special time for me.
I love that. I love it, and it's the best decision I made. After my husband passed away, I ran the construction business for 10 years by myself. And it just got to be too much for me. And, you know, I was going deeper in the hole, and I didn't know until after I closed the business that the men were taking jobs from me, doing them on the side, and also taking my equipment. So I closed the doors, and I just couldn't live alone. You know, I couldn't keep up with the repairs on the house, and I needed to be around people. I didn't like eating alone. So this has just been heaven for me. I love it.
I think probably the one I was young. And my mother and I had designed my graduation gown. And in those days, most graduated with white evening gowns, and the boys in tux. But shortly after I graduated, they went to caps and gowns. And there was a lady in town that was a noted dressmaker. And when my mother, and of course, made me happy that my mother was sitting towards the front and you could see and hear the people. And there was, you know, ahs and ahs, and I went back, and when I went across the stage, you could hear the comments, and I was happy for her because, you know, she made me so happy. And when I came out of the hallway, the back to the where we met, the dressmaker went over 4 or 5 people and went over and touched my gown to see what. It made me happy, but it embarrassed me. You know, it was, I think probably that whole night was probably maybe the happiest because nobody had ever seen me in a gown like that or dressed like that. And the boys were like, let your heart out. So I guess it was probably personal happiness that, you know, that was but it made me happy for my mother. I mean, she worked so hard for that. And it was quite a piece.
Oh, the birth of my son, I think.
Well, the happiest probably was around the time I got married, and it was a very happy, exciting time, and both families approved, which is a plus. There's so many who pick partners that either the direct parents or the parents of the groom or the older folks have plans for these kids and want to impose that on them. But I didn't experience any of that except.
Oh, having my babies. I had 4 of them, and that is why I tell people that's why I came here. I remember lying on grass and dreaming about having 12 children.
Well, we had 6 kids, 4 girls and twin boys. Each one was a great day. But when the twins come along, now there was no twins on both sides of the family, and my wife had a bigger family than we did. Ours was 6, whereas she was in 9 or 11, something like that, from Maine. And it was quite an event to have twins come into that group. And no, on both sides of the family, no twins. I was 16. I ended up being an elevator operator, the old type, you know, with the.
You really had to run it.
And I was just a kid. And I get on there, fall asleep with the handle and go past the floor, hit the springs on top, come down and hit the springs on the pavement, and the passengers, they couldn't wait to get off that elevator.
You weren't really good at what you were doing, John, that's what you said.
And where was that job, John?
In New York City. At,
Manhattan, right? He's right in the middle of
at the,
the big
I'm trying to think of the name now. New Bedford Hotel.
My first job, I was 16, and I went to Chicago, and I worked in a factory for 2 summers during the summer. I worked at a place that put pages into a telephone book, and once I went and filled orders for gaskets, I guess. And the second 2 years, I took care of children, rich people, took care of their 2 kids for the summer. I was a summer girl. Those are my first 2 jobs.
16, I guess, that was the first age that we could work, wasn't it, 16?
Yes, you get
Outside the home?
work papers, remember?
Right.
You had to get work papers to
Yep.
prove you were 16.
Yeah. And I started off working as a doing babysitting. You know, not in a general place.
When I got my first job,
Yeah.
about 18, it was right out of high school. My first job was in well, I had babysitting, but my real job was right after I graduated in 42, I got a job in the office at night. And I worked there for I did filing, card filing, you call it. It was a file that was, you know, cabinet like that, and you pull the doors out.
I was at a grocery store, I was a clerk.
I guess my kids, they've all turned out pretty good.
How many are there? How many?
5. And I have 5 cesareans.
Oh, I guess I'm proud of being a teacher for 20 years and never opening a textbook. I taught mathematics without a textbook. It was all hands-on. It was a program that had 4 different levels, and everybody could just work at their own level. And whenever they wanted to go over to the books, I said, no, don't go there. No books.
I just think I'm proud of the happy life I've had. I had wonderful parents and they meant a lot to me.
And we went early. I had 2 other fellows with me. And the only place that was open was the Coast Guard recruiting station. Went to the Air Force and the Army. They're closed. It was too early. soon I got the Coast Guard recruiting, they were open going in. Before you know it, it was 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And they didn't feed me with lump because so I just signed up. Then the rest was wartime.
Alice,
I've been all over the Atlantic, up to Davis Straits, which is close to the North Pole. And I froze like the rest of the guys did. We had to chip ice off the ship before it, so it wouldn't get top heavy, and chase submarines. Whether we got them or not, I can't tell you. All I know is they tell us to look for debris, but at night you can't see nothing. You can't see a hand. But we must have got them because nothing showed up. They didn't attack us. It was a nerve-wracking job. And in a way, I was glad to get out when time come. Then again, I had met so many good fellas. I didn't want to leave them too. But by the time I got married and we had a child, so I had to come home and find a job.
Well, I can tell you that I never sat still. I was born in Romford, Maine, and I was there just long enough to move back to my mother and I to move back to the family, which my dad had moved temporarily to New Brunswick, Canada. But he had a citizenship, dual citizenship. But my mother wanted me to be born an American, so she came to the United States, so I would be born. And she went back on the farm in New Brunswick and stayed there till about 13 years old. And I came back to Bath, Maine, and we stayed there for a while. My dad was working in Bath at the time. And we stayed there a little while. And I went to school there, and I graduated from Morse. And then I stayed home to take care of my mother, who had a stroke. And but I did want to go to school, to dress design school. So I to get away, my dad was perfectly able to take care of her, but I didn't. Took care of her for a while, worked at night and took care of her during the day. And I went to Chicago. And I went to school for a semester, just long enough to do my wedding gown. And it took me 8.5 months to do my wedding gown when I got back and finish it. And then I got married, and my husband was with the Postal Service, and we traveled all over the United States. He went to Washington, and I stayed home until he had his territory, and that had turned out to be Massachusetts and Worcester, Mass, and we lived in Sturbridge, Mass, which I never wanted to leave. But he was transferred to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So we stayed there. In Sturbridge, we stayed about 7 years. And we went to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And there I wanted to be close to skating, so I joined the figure skating club right next door to Hershey, the Hershey Figure Skating Club. And we stayed in Pennsylvania we stayed there until 1970, I guess. Well, almost 10 years. And I skated both winter and summer. So I liked that. Then we wanted to come back to Vermont, to Maine, and we were transferred to Vermont. We had a friend that worked things for him, and we went to Vermont and lived there. That's the longest I lived any place. I lived 20, he died in 95, and I stayed there. We were there. I was there a total of 28 years, and he died about 4 years before I went. And we came back to Vermont, and I loved Vermont. I lived there 20 years.
Definitely, the Second World War was a very big impact on us at our age. And my brother was called in, and I was very close to him. I was the youngest in the family, 3, oldest sister, brother. And he was drafted. And then it came up that he volunteered. But his number came up automatically. I guess the record systems weren't working too well. He was already in. But that was a very, had a great impact on us because of the war and what was happening around us. And everybody had to get into it.
I have lots of stories. I guess the one story, the one thing I've been telling people is, you know, when you get old, you sit and reminisce things that you remember, is that my son took me on a trip to the Aegean Sea in a big sailboat that had, it's called a Wind Star. And there were 70 of us and 100 some of them, and we were weighted on hand and foot. And we stopped at all the islands where they have the 7 wonders of the world. So I saw the Temple of Artemis, which was just a pole sticking out of the ground, and the Temple of Zeus, and I don't know if you've ever seen the great big mausoleum of Halicarnassus. You probably have in your history, but it was just and then we ended up in Athens, and I got a chance to see soldiers out in the streets making sure people didn't, you know, do things that they're not supposed to, and I thought, well, this is weird. But it was, and then he took us on we had an helicopter that took us to used to be a palace of one of the sultans, and that's where we stayed, in this fantastic castle. And it was just a dream of my life. I've always told him about it when he was little. I want to go down the Aegean. So that was my biggest story of my life. It's a good one.
And I do have a story about my son. He was about 4 years old, and I'm Episcopalian. And my mother and I were gonna take him to church. Well, he had heard outdoors, you know, he'd come in and say, Jesus. And, you know, I'd say, you don't say that. So I said to my mom, what are we gonna do? He's gonna hear this in church, and we're telling him no. So anyway, we went to church, and he sat there just as good as gold, and I took him up to the altar with me when I took communion. And the priest put his hands on his head and said a prayer for him. We got home, and my dad says, how did you like church, Jeff? He said, I didn't like that goddamn pilgrim pushing on my head. And I've never forgotten that, you know. But he was just so innocent in saying it, and we tried not to laugh, but that's always stuck with me, you know. But